Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about some Thanksgiving sides because Thanksgiving is very quickly approaching. We host Thanksgiving every single year. It came with the house. We bought this house from my in-laws, and my mother-in-law told me when I bought the house, she was like, just so you're aware, with the house comes the family holidays, and which was totally fine. She said it in a joking way, but yet it was kind of serious because we do host all the holidays. But I absolutely love hosting. I really do. I love having a house full of people. It's just my husband's side of the family, but if everybody comes, it's about 34 people-ish. And so it can get, like, it's a full house, but I absolutely love Thanksgiving. Like, Thanksgiving might be my favorite holiday. It's called Family Day. It's the day after Thanksgiving, and we've always called it Family Day at my parents' house. That's actually my favorite holiday, but it's not actually a technical real holiday. So Thanksgiving is probably my favorite holiday. I just absolutely love it. I feel like once Thanksgiving hits, like, the rest of the year is just like, it's crazy and it's busy, but like it's magical a little bit, like from Thanksgiving on. And so it just like starts like that fun festive time of year, and I just absolutely love it. But that said, in hosting Thanksgiving, while there are other people that bring some of the food, the bulk of the food is made by my husband and I. So we actually do a ham and 2 turkeys every single year. So I'm just going to go through some of the sides that I make, because I call it like unfancy Thanksgiving sides, because they're things that aren't super difficult because I'm making so many different things. I don't want to have something that takes like 3 hours to make like one side dish. So they're unfancy Thanksgiving dishes that taste absolutely delicious, and let's get into them. So the first ones are, like, to me, they're like the honorable mentions. Like, I feel like everybody, if they don't, everybody should have these sides at their Thanksgiving dinner, unless you do like a non-typical Thanksgiving dinner. Like, if you don't do like the turkey and the sides, then whatever. But if you're doing that, like, you gotta have mashed potatoes. Like, my husband thinks that mashed potatoes are the most important thing to have on Thanksgiving. He usually ends up making the mashed potatoes, and he also doesn't want you to like fluff them up. Like, my husband wants mashed potatoes with butter, salt, and pepper, and that's it. Like, he doesn't want you to like throw extra things in and try to make them fancy. And so just plain mashed potatoes. Like, we do a 10-pound bag of mashed potatoes, and we rarely have leftovers. The next thing that I think is an honorable mention is green bean casserole. And I know that like you either love it or you hate it. We love it. We usually make 2 9x13s of green bean casserole, and sometimes we have some left over, sometimes we don't. It's just really well loved, and like it always reminds me of, there's a Friends episode where Phoebe's grandma makes chocolate chip cookies, but Monica's trying to find the recipe, and like she finally talks to Phoebe, and Phoebe says that her grandma got the recipe from Nestle Toll House, and like they realize it's the Nestle Toll House recipe, like on the back of the cookie dough recipe. And that's how I feel about green bean casserole. There are tons of fancy recipes for green bean casserole, and in my opinion, the very best one is on the French's onions. Like, that's the best recipe for green bean casserole. Like, don't do anything extra, don't make it fancy, don't like, I don't know. That's just, to me, like, that's the best. Like, it's the best just to have the plain green bean casserole. I absolutely love it. So again, another one that is like I feel like it's very popular for a Thanksgiving meal is a sweet potato casserole. And I didn't make a sweet potato casserole for a really long time, because when I was growing up, the one that we had was the one where like it was the sweet potatoes and then you put like the marshmallows and stuff, and I never liked it. Well, come to find out, I just don't like the marshmallows on it, but I love other recipes for sweet potato casserole. So the one that I've been making for the last, I think, 3 or 4 years is it's the Reba McEntire recipe for sweet potato casserole. I will have it linked below, but it is super easy. It is like a can of the sweet potatoes, and then like you mix the topping, and like it's super, super easy. And it doesn't have the marshmallows, but it has like a brown sugar type topping on it. It is just so good, and I absolutely love it now. So that is something that we do. And then the last one is I've had all different kinds of fancy like dressing and stuffing recipes, and I like stovetop So if you have a recipe that you love for stuffing or dressing or something like that, I would love to hear it below, because I just have never found any that I love more than stovetop, and like stovetops takes like 10 minutes. So again, it's another favorite, but it's another one that I just make a super quick recipe. So now getting into the things that aren't necessarily like your typical everybody has these at Thanksgiving recipes. Those were kind of like the honorable mentions. So now I'm going to get into some of the things that I do that might be a little bit different, probably not crazy different, but maybe a little bit. And the first one is cream corn. It's like homemade cream corn. And I actually got this from my old roommate. She made it once, and it is basically a family staple ever since then. My stepson absolutely loves it, but it is literally just a bag of frozen sweet corn, and it needs to be like this super sweet corn. And if you get the regular like frozen corn, it's not that great. It is a large, like family size bag of the frozen corn, goes with 1 package of cream cheese and 1 stick of butter. You can add some more corn if you want it to be less creamy, and I usually double that, and I literally throw the corn frozen in the crock pot with the butter and the cream cheese, and then you just let it melt and mix all together. Add a little bit of pepper, and it is so good. Obviously so unhealthy, but it is so good, so simple, and it's just one that we really like. The next one is actually something that it's kind of my go-to when I have to take a side somewhere, because it is really easy, but I also have gotten a lot of people that have asked me for the recipe for it, and it is a super easy broccoli slaw. I am super picky about coleslaws. Like if it's not KFC's coleslaw, I probably am not gonna love it. And my husband also doesn't like cabbage coleslaws, so I make a broccoli slaw instead. Again, super simple. You buy a bag of broccoli slaw. It literally says it. You can get it at Walmart or Kroger. And then usually on the same shelf, a couple rows higher, is the Marzetti's slaw dressing. It is 1 bag of the broccoli slaw goes with half a jar of that Marzetti's dressing, and then literally you just add sunflower seeds to like your heart's content. Like I add a ton of sunflower seeds. You mix all those together, and there you have a broccoli slaw. It is so good. I get a whole bunch of people who ask me for the recipe, and they don't believe me when I tell them it's literally just those 3 things. Like it's not like super homemade. Like it's a very unfancy broccoli slaw recipe, but you put it in a cute bowl and like nobody questions it. But that is another one that is a super highly requested thing for our Thanksgiving. I didn't make it 2 years ago, and people were kind of upset with me. So it is now a staple at our Thanksgiving. The next one is actually a cranberry salad. And again, I've had multiple different cranberry salads, and the one that I grew up with, my aunt used to make it all the time. It is my absolute favorite one. I will put a screenshot of the recipe right here because I have no idea where she got it from. She's been making it for years. And the recipe does have Jell-O in it, and I've made it with, it's always red Jell-O, but I've used like cherry and like all the different ones. I think that raspberry Jell-O is actually the very best to use in this. And also, if you don't have the crushed pineapple, it's not even worth making it. It will not be the same. The texture will be off. And so just a couple notes from mistakes that I've made while making it in the past. And so again, I really, really like this. It's not hard. You make it the night before, let it set up, and you're good to go. The next one is just to do a super easy pasta salad. And my mom makes a delicious homemade pasta salad. She makes her own like vinegar dressing. And I just, not that that is difficult, like that seems super easy. I buy the Simple Sides pasta salad, and I get the original one, and I add black olives and pepperonis to it, and that bulks it up a little bit, makes it a little bit different, and then it's just a super easy pasta salad. Again, I'm making all of these sides either the night before Thanksgiving or on Thanksgiving, so I do not want things that take a really long time. And then the very last thing that I'm going to mention is just some sort of salad. I feel like there are a lot of things on Thanksgiving that are very heavy and not healthy, which is fine. It's fine to indulge. So I do always like to have some sort of salad that's just something that's a little lighter. I typically like to do like a fall themed salad, but I do mix that beforehand, and then we'll just set the vinaigrette next to it. Sometimes I make a homemade vinaigrette. Usually I just buy a vinaigrette because, again, I'm making all of these things. And so the quicker that I can get this stuff done, the better, because it never fails. Like, I have a plan to like have everything else done. Like, the house is going to be cleaned, and like my clothes are going to be laid out, and everything is going to like be done so that on Thanksgiving I just make the food, and it never works out that way. So I'm typically like frantically getting all the food done while I'm trying to get the house put together, and we're setting up the tables and chairs, and now I have a toddler thrown in the mix. And so Thanksgiving is a great, wonderful day at our house, but it is one of the craziest days of the year. So anything that I can do to simplify the food part, I am going to do. So like I said, it's not a fancy Thanksgiving. Like, we do not do a super fancy Thanksgiving where everybody uses the china and, you know, I slave in the kitchen for like 3 days until Thanksgiving. Like, that's just not how our Thanksgiving works. We bring everybody in the big house. Everybody uses paper plates and silverware. We go around the circle in the kitchen getting our food. And so if that's how you do your Thanksgiving, then these are the side dishes for you. And thank you so much for watching. I hope that you make some of these. If you make some of these, you'll have to let me know. And again, if you have a really good stuffing recipe that's not super complicated, even if it is super complicated, I would try it, just probably not on Thanksgiving. But thank you again. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.